Hello again, it's me, and it's 3 o'clock. It is time for tea. A sad note. In our communities at the present moment, sometimes we are part of a statistic. And the statistics nowadays that we may be following, whether in detail or not, but we're aware of, is that we're losing some of our dear friends to this virus. And that so happened in my community. One person who was in the early 90s was taken into the hospital and rallied for a time, and we had real hopes and lots of prayers. But he has now gone ahead of us. I prefer not to use this title, dying or death. I know that's perfectly reasonable and that we will all reach that stage at one point, and there's no point in shying away from that. But there are certain things for people who share the same faith have a way of describing such a passing. The word passing is one of those. But also gone ahead of us, which means we're really thinking of taking the same pathway at some stage, and that they will have gone ahead of us, and that we're not separated from them for long, that we will be reunited again in that very special way. That's one of the greatest single benefits, I think, of the Christian faith, that we do feel that this is a transitory situation, that we're having our life, and our life is just like this. And then there is eternity stretching the other way beyond that. And within that eternity is an immersion in love that we simply couldn't tolerate as human beings, because we just don't have the emotional capacity to be loved to that degree. We were loved to an enormous degree, and that's why we have this personal relationship with Jesus. He loved us enough so that he endured that day, which is coming soon now to us. Tortured, really. Bled to death, really. Feeling that this was necessary so that you and I could have life eternal. And that's what this gift is, when we see a dear one very close to us going ahead of us into that eternity that has been prepared for us. That it's something that you can't just grab a hold of and say, fine, then that's what I want, so I'll make the commitment and then I've got it. It's really a gift, and it's something that I can talk about to you, and that you could talk about to me, and that we would understand. But if by chance you're watching at the moment and it seems so gobbledygook to you, and it also sounds frankly rather religious and self-satisfied in some way, please understand that it truly is a gift, and it's something that is receivable in quite a simple way, really. I simply came because my wife Trina had a really sad life, and I was part of the reason for that sadness, I have to tell you that. And it was almost intolerable for her to live from day to day. She couldn't forgive me, and I so wanted to be forgiven, but she didn't have the tools to do that. It's a wonderful story which could be told at another time. She embraced the idea that Jesus was real, and he actually touched her heart in a very interesting manner. And she changed overnight to the extent when she had the tools by that touch to be able to forgive me. And so I found myself loved again. And all I wanted to know since I'd spent 9 years trying to be loved and not being loved. How did this happen? And if it happened because of Jesus, then I want to know more about this Jesus. And so I set about to try and understand intellectually. And I read some books and asked some questions, all of which I think were very important and okay to do. But then eventually I got to the stage of kneeling down in my hotel room and shouting at the ceiling. And it was late at night, goodness knows what the fellow guest must have been thinking. And I shouted, "What do I have to say to get to know you like Trina does?" And I did shout that. And the very next words that I said were, "Jesus, I love you." And I moved into an experience that I can only describe. You know when you get goosebumps? Is that a word that we understand? You get this kind of chill that runs through you, and it's just an enlivening wave of emotion. And that's what I experienced at that moment. And I think it was about an hour and a half, still kneeling down in the midst of this amazing ocean of love that surrounded me. It was enough so that I came out of that ocean not knowing what on earth had taken place, with the gift of being able to say that I love him and that he loves me. An extraordinary moment, which has allowed me, with Trina having gone ahead of me, to be able to know that I will enter into that same love that we had together again. It's not over. It's never over. It's such a gift. Such a gift. And I know if this could, just could, for in your particular case, be quite irritating to hear me say this. And that's understood. You know, Jesus even said that there were people who would be irritated. Some people will think that I smell bad. It's even described scripturally as smelling like death. So I'm not in the least bit surprised by this, but I am very concerned that you might actually hear and get emotionally concerned with me to the extent that you might just yourself find a ceiling somewhere and shout, "What do I have to say to you to get to know you like Graham does?" So that I could have this removal of a fear of dying, knowing that it is a transition into more love than I had ever thought happened or could happen. So, my very short words to my dear friend who had lost her husband. You see, there's another word that we use, the word lost. Was that I once was in a boat in the Gulf of Lyon, south of France. And I had eaten unwisely the night before, and I hadn't got sea legs. I'd just joined the boat. And we went through a force 9 gale in that extremely unpleasant part of the world for storms. And I just was simply unable to even stand up. I was dreadfully sick. I just wished that I could die, literally. And they came to me and other people in the crew and said, "It looks like we can get in behind the Pokerol Islands and get some relief from this storm." I said, "Then please do it." The moment we turned around under the islands and the storm dropped and it became calm, the moment that it did, I was out of that bunk in which I've been so ill as to be hallucinating. And I made omelets for everybody in the crew. We were able to shelter behind those islands. It was bliss. It was bliss. You guys, it's just a storm. And after the storm, it becomes calm. And it is in that calm that joy once again rises. So it can be with our life. Thanks for being with me today and letting me chat on like this. I love you. God bless.